Are you an American who's fed up with the current political situation there? Maybe you're not happy with the 2024 election results. You've decided to throw in the towel, leave the United States, pick a new paradise, and start a new life there. We hear about this, we read about this, we hear about celebrities saying they're going to do this, and now even regular people are talking about doing it too, and there's no shortage of YouTubers and other experts who are standing ready to give you advice on which countries you should move to, and giving you lists of countries you can live in where you don't have to learn another language, or which countries have the easiest visa requirements. And I want to produce this video here to give those people something more important to think about before they take that massive step. My name is Richard Weiss, and I am an American who has lived for 25 years abroad in other countries. My wife and I left the US in 2000 and moved to the UK. We did that at that time not as a protest or not as with the intention of leaving the US permanently. It was for a job, it was for travel, sense of adventure. And after the years went by and we settled in the UK, it's not that we ever said we were never going back, but we were just happy with our new life there and just kept living. And from there we moved to Switzerland and repeated that process again. It was done without a declaration or without saying we're leaving or moving to a new country. It was actually just to follow the course that life takes you on, flowing in the river of life, as it were, and we just ended up in these two countries. And in the process of that, we have actually become naturalized in both the UK and Switzerland, so we now have 3 citizenships. All of that just happened as a matter of course, where we were just living a normal life. I want to just share that experience with you. I'm going to give you some things to think about now before you make the massive step of leaving the US or any other homeland of yours and moving to a new country, things that you don't hear so much about. The first thing to say is, if politics are your main motivation, think very carefully about that. Politics are cyclical, it's dynamic. The political situation in the US may not be to your satisfaction right now. It will change, that's guaranteed. And also don't forget that the country that you might move to has active dynamic politics also. So you may move to a country now because you like the political situation there. 20 years from now, it may be different. You may not like it anymore. So I would not let politics be a reason to move. Probably better to stay at home and try to fix things through the democratic process than leave. If you're concerned with practical considerations like health care, gun violence, public transportation, these are all very important and interesting lifestyle aspects or things that affect your quality of life. That's true. But again, those tend to be, in our experience and in our observation, superficial things that end up becoming overwhelmed by more personal factors and considerations like family. So I'd like to share some observations that I have from knowing other people, other Americans who have moved abroad, thought they might stay abroad permanently and didn't do, and share some of the experiences my wife and I have had living abroad for a very long time, what's worked and not worked. Not all of that in this video. If you like what I say here, then hit subscribe and I will produce more videos on some more specific topics to do. So let's get started on things you should think about before you make that big decision to move abroad permanently. Here are a few things that we have seen are the common pitfalls or risk factors that end up making most people go home eventually. And here I'm going to say that we have known very many Americans abroad, and all of them, I believe, have gone back eventually, and for one of the following reasons. Number one, the biggest one, is family. I think people tend to underestimate the effect, the wearing effect of being abroad long-term in terms of your relationship with your family, being able to see your family. When you move abroad, you think, yeah, we'll be in touch. We have video calls, we'll travel, we'll go back home, they'll come visit us. That's all true, but if you're used to seeing your family a lot, then it will affect you after a while. And in particular, we have noticed that people who have children abroad tend to go back pretty quickly after that. They'd like their kids to have access to the grandparents and so on. And that tends to be a big reason why people move back. So think about the effect of living abroad on your family and on your relationship. The second biggest reason why people do not succeed with a long-term relocation abroad is that they have unrealistic expectations of what their lifestyle will be like in the new country. It's very easy to romanticize that Italian seaside village or Paris when you were there on vacation and think you'd like to go live there. You admired their public transportation. You loved the sort of the lifestyle, sort of maybe you felt people were less focused on work. You felt people maybe enjoyed a better quality of life, drinking coffee in an outdoor cafe and such things. These things might all be true, but I think you'll find that more personal factors tend to take more priority after those sort of things that you experience as a tourist. The novelty of those things tends to fade away. And after about 5 years, that's the sort of breaking point that we've sort of seen the realities of life, wherever you live, take precedence. And don't forget that the regular features of your life, your job, your health, your family, these are the things that end up being with you no matter where you are. You carry them with you. People don't have a realistic expectation of how they're going to have to adjust and change their life when they move to the new country. We've noticed there are lots of Americans, they think they can just transport their American lifestyle to that new country, to that Italian seaside village. It doesn't really work. When you move to a new country, sooner or later, you have to kind of more or less adopt the lifestyle of that new country. Otherwise, there's just friction the whole time. They don't realize how much their life is going to have to change. They don't realize how much their life will change. And if you resist that, you end up going home eventually. Your life's normal challenges like health, employment, family, they're still with you. And the novelty of the new place will eventually wear off. Doesn't mean you'll ever stop appreciating it, but the novelty aspect wears off, and then real life sets back in. And if you're not happy in your employment situation, if you're not happy with aspects of your relationships or social life, those things are not going to be better in the new country. You may forget about some difficulties in your life for a while, but they will come. And number 3 would be inadequate integration. It goes with the first point, the second point about unrealistic expectations. Failure to adequately integrate into the new country is the third reason why people end up going home. You don't have to become a local or become a native of the new country. You can keep your traditions, you can keep your Americanness, but you have to integrate to some degree into the new country. And what that means is you've got to learn the language, you've got to accept many of the customs, and you've got to learn how to meet people on their terms in terms of locals. This is important for your social life, for your work life. You've got to accept being as one of the local people and participating in their culture to a great degree. You don't have to do that to 100%, but if you don't do that at all, then that's a recipe for unhappiness. And the number one point of that is actually learning the local language. I see a lot of YouTubers and others talk about countries you can move to without learning the language. I believe the only countries you should move to and not learn another language are countries that already speak English. Any other country, even if they do speak good English, if you do not make an attempt to learn the local language, you're going to be handicapping yourself in all sorts of social situations. And you're also going to be forever that foreigner. You're going to be treated that way by the locals. And there are lots of practical difficulties as well by not speaking the local language, even if the people tend to speak good English. And I'll cover that in a separate. So kind of recapping, the things that are the most important are family, lifestyle differences, language, cultural differences, and social isolation. These are things you have to really think about before even worrying about what type of visa or cost of living or healthcare systems in the new country. Again, if you've liked the content of this and you're interested in more of this type of information and even more practical information, hit the subscribe button and I'll be producing more videos. We also have a blog website with some interesting blog posts from ourselves and other people. The link to that is in the description here. And if you are interested in me covering any particular topics from my experience as a long-term American abroad, any practical tips, if you'd like me to make a video on any particular sub area, then please say so in the comments or send me a private message. That all being said, a life abroad is a life full of rewards as well as those challenges. It's very fulfilling. You just have to take the proper mindset along with you.